everybody. Joe Hoffman here. Thank you so much for joining us on the very first edition of the Roll Stable Video Podcast. This is something we're very excited to add to the UCM Athletics digital media platform. It joins our mobile app, which can be downloaded on the Apple App Store and on Google Play as new features to come out this fall. On the podcast this semester, we'll sit down with some of your favorite Mules and Jennies for an inside look at their lives as UCM student-athletes. Right now, you can find the Roll Stable Video Podcast on the web at ucmathletics.com. It'll also be going up on our YouTube page, and you can watch in our new mobile app. Be sure to keep up to date with all UCM Athletic information on our social media pages at UCM Athletics on Facebook and YouTube, and at UCM Mules on Twitter and Instagram. Now that that's out of the way, I'd like to bring on our very first guest. This is someone who really needs no introduction. He's the most recent MIAA Baseball Player of the Year. He's the UCM all-time home run king. And perhaps what he's best known for, he's the inventor of the Webby Wiggle. Of course, I'm talking about Mules Baseball senior Erik Webb. Erik, thanks so much for coming on.
How you doing, Joe? Thank you for having me.
Doing good. I can imagine being asked to be our first guest on the podcast and winning Conference Player of the Year. Probably a similar feeling, right?
Yeah, for sure, most definitely.
So I'm going to jump right in here to a day you probably remember pretty well, and that's March 12th, 2020. You guys, of course, were playing a doubleheader in Fort Hays State, and that's when news came out that there was going to be no more baseball seasons. What was kind of some of your thoughts on that? Kind of when did you know about the decision made by the NCAA? What were your thoughts on the field? How did you find out?
Right, yeah, we had actually just finished up our first game of the day, and Chris called the whole team down the first base line, and we kind of like heard some news about like D1 schools shutting down, like canceling their season. So we weren't sure what was going to happen with us. But after the first game, he told us that, boys, this might be the last game for some of you seniors. Like this could be the end of the line. So we have one more game today. Finish it the right way, and if it happens to be our last game, let's make it one that we still do right.
Did he ever ask you guys if you wanted to play that last game? Was there any ever a doubt that you wouldn't even get in the full doubleheader?
No, we knew that like the game the next day it wasn't going to be a thing. So that second game of that day it was for sure thing. So
what was kind of going through your head when you're told, hey, this is going to be your last game of the season? You're in mid-March. You're hoping to run on to June. So we're talking about almost 3 months before the end of the year.
Yeah, it was definitely unexpected for sure, and the way our season was, turning out to be is couldn't have asked for a better team to be a part of, and the winning streak we're on. So when that news came out, at first it was like no way they're going to cancel the season. Like, I've never heard of anything like that. So, sure enough, the next day we packed up the bus and headed out, and it didn't really sink in until later that week when. The next weekend rolled around and there was no baseball. So, it definitely hit hard, and we definitely wanted to finish what we started with that team. But, that's how it is sometimes.
Talk about an emotional bus ride. I've made that trip several times from Warrensburg to Hays, Kansas. It's not very fun, even when you come back after a win.
Right,
but to have your season over and then drive back 5-6 hours, kind of what was going on the bus? Was it kind of quiet? Was there any chatter going on?
Yeah, there's some chatter, but for the most part, I think everybody was just kind of digesting what happened and, this news that was just laid on us. So there wasn't a whole lot going on. Really, we talked about it for the first hour or so, but after that we kind of just pretty silent bus ride home.
And then not only did the season end that day, it was a very an emotional roller coaster of a day for you. You set the UCM career home run record on that day. So you went from the highest of highs to crashing down. Can you talk about some of those different emotions?
Yeah, for sure. Setting that record, it's pretty cool. But at the end of the day, your season being canceled like that just, it kind of takes your wind out of your sails. And at the end of the day, it's not really the record you hold or the things that matter, but it's really the memories you make with the team and, everything you do outside the baseball field. And those are the things that, you're really going to miss about the place and, just being with the boys. So, at the end of the day, it all came down to, just wanting to be with the boys for the rest of the season and just wishing we could continue that.
And now you mentioned it before, but you guys you were cruising. You started out 20-3. You were just setting all sorts you were leading the league in a number of different offensive and pitching categories. You were and Dusty Stroup were providing a lethal combination. What were some of your thoughts earlier in the year about maybe getting back to nationals. How good did you think that team was?
Yeah, I mean, if we were ever gonna do it, that was definitely the team to do it. We could hit through the lineup 1 through 18. I mean, our pitching staff on the other hand too, they were just dominant. So, I mean, that was the team to do it with. We eventually lost Sprinkle and Fowler to the draft this past year, but we have so many returners coming back that we'll see if we can make something happen again this year.
I definitely want to talk about some of those returners coming back, especially in the lineup where almost 100% of what would have been 2020 seniors are going to be coming back this year. What was kind of your thought process into saying, yeah, I'm gonna come back for another year? Did you talk with your teammates and fellow seniors about that?
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely a decision that took some time. I wouldn't give up UCM baseball for anything. So just having the news of, you're going to have one more year of eligibility to come back if you decide to. So I talked to my parents and I talked to Coach Crooks, and we just kind of all talked through. And at the end of the day, I decided that, there's no way I'm going to pass up this opportunity to play another season under, Crooks and with Mules Baseball. So I didn't give it a second thought, and I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
I joked with Katie Smith, our former video operations coordinator, that just about every spring and winter sport team that didn't get to finish, their motto this year is going to be unfinished business. But I feel like that's takes on a new meaning for Mules Baseball, who was 20-3. They were just ranked number 1 by the NCAA Power Rankings. So what can you say about your teammates that are coming back, and what are you looking forward to about this year?
All right, I think you said it all. I mean, everybody that has returned, all the seniors that are coming back, we definitely have some unfinished business, and you could see the progress right now where we're at now, that everybody that was here last year and made the return definitely put in a lot of work during quarantine on their own, and they definitely want to come back and pick up right where we left off. So if we keep heading the direction we are, I think we'll be in a pretty good place.
I'm going to be a little bit hard on you here.
Yeah.
Your senior year you were still playing well,
right,
but it wasn't living up to that All-American 2019 season. So now that you almost have a reset button, a second chance at it, what have you learned from that shortened 2020 season that you carry over into the new year?
Definitely. I mean, just like that, it could be taken away from you. So some games may have been taken for granted, some at bats. This year it's full go, like no pitches off, one pitch at a time. So we're definitely coming back, and we're chasing that national title. So we're ready to go, and we're going to pick things back up.
Is there anything that you specifically are going to look to do differently on this, senior year 2.0?
One thing for me is definitely I want to take on more of a leadership role. I want to take the knowledge I've learned over the past 4 years, and I want to imprint that on the younger guys, and all the knowledge that I've learned from the previous seniors and upperclassmen up until now, and even we have leaders on the team now that still I learned from. So this year I want to really give some tricks and tools and some information behind the mental side of the game as well, that really helped me succeed my junior year, and that could definitely help out the club.
Now, you talked about being more of a leader. You played on some great Mule teams with some great teammates. Who are some role models, some guys you're looking to emulate?
Yeah, off the top of my head, the leaders I think of are Travis Abel, Colin Neville, Justin Graffro. All great baseball players, all great people. So if I can emulate those guys, I think I'll be in a pretty good place to help out the younger guys, and hopefully they'll be able to say the same about me.
And it's really about finding your own type of leadership style. You're not going to do the same type of leader as a Graffro. So what do you think is your best quality as a leader?
Right. I'm not a very vocal leader. I think that I lead from example, and I kind of take a lot of pride in that. What you see from me is the real me. But I talked to Coach Crooks about this also. He knows I'm not very vocal. So, when the time comes and there's something that needs to be said and I vocalize it, it's pretty serious, and hopefully I get the message across, and it really sticks with the guys on the team, and they can take some words from me and be able to work towards the common goal of the team.
Mm-hmm.
So
now I've been around you guys for a couple of years, been on the road with you a couple of times. I know how much fun you guys have. You're kind of known for kind of the goofiness you guys can bring to the locker room. Who's kind of in charge of that?
Oh man, Harrison Schnurbush, Cole Taylor, Dusty's up there. We have such a great time, especially in the locker room and on the bench, and that's such a key role in the success that we have. Is we don't take the game too serious to where, if something small happens, it's going to derail the whole game. So it's having the ability to ride the highs and lows and stay even across the whole thing, and it's definitely playing the game like a little kid. Like you played in the backyard when you're younger. You can't let the game get too big, or else it's all going to come crumbling down on you. So it's definitely nice having guys like that on the team that you can joke around with, but when the time comes, can be serious and do what needs to be done.
And it's a sport that's so different from, say, a football where you're playing once a week. You guys are out there 3, 4, sometimes 5 days a week playing a game, so you can't be completely serious 24/7. You need some downtime to kind of chill out and just be a little more mellow, a little more casual before ratcheting it back up again. Because going that hard 7 days a week, it's just not sustainable.
For sure, and that's a big thing with baseball is you have a lot of downtime, especially as an outfielder. In the outfield, nobody's near you. You're out there alone, so it's definitely a mental grind. We say sometimes that, you have to stay locked in and you can't take any reps off, but there definitely comes time when, you need to just stay locked in the game. But yeah, it's definitely when the mental part of the game comes in where you got to stay locked in and ready for the ball to be hit to you at any time, really.
Do you still have the ping pong table in the locker room?
Oh, yeah.
Who's the current champion?
Well, if you ask the coaching staff, Connor Barons would say it's him, but right now probably Josh Schumacher. Yeah, he can run the table pretty well.
How are your skills?
They're all right. They ranked me at 16. I don't know if that's because I'm ranked number 16th or that's just my number, but I could put up a pretty good fight if anybody wants to challenge me.
Okay. Who over the years has been some of the better ping pong players?
Honestly, it runs through the coaching staff.
Well, they have the most time to practice.
Yeah, you're right. They do. But, Tanner Forssler from last year, previous years, he was ranked number 1 all year. But it was, it was a back and forth battle between him and Shu. Going back to my freshman year, I don't know if you guys remember Safranik, but he was Saf, he was undefeated, when I was there with him. But he was probably one of the best ping pong players I've ever seen. But, yeah, right now probably Josh Schumacher, ranked number 1. Sorry, Barons.
Are there any other stories maybe from the road you want to share?
Oh, man.
Something funny?
Oh, yeah, think about that. There's just so much that goes on. Oh, I might have to come back with that one.
Just too much.
Yeah, there's so much to think about.
That's all right. So when was the last time that you actually played in a game? It was that March 12th? You didn't have a summer ball, is that right?
Yeah, March 12th was the last time back at Fort Hays. So I was set to go back to Alaska to play in the ABL, but a week before my flight, they canceled it due to COVID. So, yeah, March 12th.
There's a lot of people who don't really know much about summer ball. They just hear you playing summer ball, playing games. Yep. They don't know what all goes into it. You were up in Alaska, and there's all these different summer ball leagues around the country. Did they choose you to go to Alaska, or did you choose to go to Alaska yourself?
Yeah, so with Alaska, the Alaska Baseball League, you actually get invited to go play up there. So Crooks helped me out there. I was actually set to play in El Dorado, Kansas. So I talked to Coach Crooks to see, I heard some other guys were going to Alaska, and I asked him if he could pull some strings and see what he could do. So, a few days later he called me and said, all right, Webb, get ready to go to Alaska. So, I was pretty thrilled about that. Never been to Alaska, and honestly, it's probably one of my greatest experiences of my life, playing up there for the summer.
Sure. I've never been there. I'm sure a lot of our listeners haven't been there. Can you tell us about the state of Alaska?
Yeah, so there were 4 teams. One was in Anchorage. 2 were in Anchorage, the Bucks and the Pilots. And Matsu Miners, we were out of Wasilla and Palmer area. And there was one team in Kenai, the Oilers, so that was about a 3-hour drive. But, it was beautiful. The weather there, almost every day, all summer was like 75 to 80, sunny. We had one week where it got above 90. Other than that, we played every game except one due to rain. But, you could not have asked for better weather. And
so when you're up there, you stay with a family, is that right?
Yep, that's right.
So what can you tell us about your host family?
Yeah, so my host family, I stay with the Lindhausens. The greatest people you could ask for to be a host family. So I stayed up there, and I had a roommate, Matt Palmer. He's actually from Palmer, Alaska, so he was a native up there. And, you wake up, and we would go to the gym pretty much every day in the morning. You didn't have to go to the field until later in the afternoon, I guess early afternoon, to get there early, hit if you want, stretch, and then, eventually take BP and play the game. But, I definitely liked having a roommate. he could kind of show me around since he's from Alaska. He could show me around the area and, places to go, things to do. On the very few off days we had, he actually took me up to Lazy Mountain. It was about a 4-hour hike to the top. And,
Wow.
actually when we climbed it, there were fires up in Kenai, unfortunately. So it was a little hazy. But, the view was still spectacular. So there's a lot of things to do in Alaska. And, hopefully someday I'll be able to go up and visit the Lindhausens again and experience more things.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm going to go back a little bit in time to before you came to UCM. You could talk a little bit about your recruiting process. What schools you were looking at, what schools were looking at you.
For sure.
Were there, and again, not trying to be offensive, were there schools that were a little put off by your size that you knew about?
Yeah, for sure. I only had a few offers coming out of high school. I had my offer here to UCM. I had a preferred walk-on to SEMO, Southeast Missouri State University, and I talked to Missouri State, which was one of the schools that I think was put off on my size a little bit, and Jeffco. So actually I had a visit to Jeffco set up, and then I talked to my parents and talked with Crooks a lot, and I decided that this was the place for me. So I eventually called Crooks and said, there's no place I'd rather be. I'm going to be a Mule. So.
And do you play with kind of a chip on your shoulder, knowing that there were schools that passed you by just because of something you couldn't even control, not your talent on the field?
Right. At the end of the day, you can only control what you can control. So everything else, you just gotta take it with a grain of salt and don't let it affect your attitude and effort. And that's a big thing we preach here. The coaching staff has this thing that they taught us: E plus R equals O. It's an event plus your response equals the outcome. So whatever the event is, give your best response, and you should have a positive outcome at the end. So, I didn't really let it bother me too much. I could not be happier playing here at UCM. This is the best organization I've ever played a part of, and, we're one of the better Division II NCAA teams in the nation. So, I think this is a phenomenal place to be.
Did that play a big role in your choosing to be here? Is that you knew you could be a really high Division II versus like SEMO, kind of a mid-major Division I, and your season might be over in early May?
Right, yeah. That was definitely a factor. UCM was just a powerhouse, and actually when I was a freshman in high school, my brother decided to come here too, just for as a student, and I honestly didn't even realize how big of a program UCM baseball was. And then my junior year of high school came around, and senior year they started talking to me, and I was like, I was just up there a couple years ago, and I had no idea, but yeah. Yeah, it's awesome.
And your brother still drives by the field. He's got the fire truck. Is that right?
Yeah, yep. He would bring the fire trucks to the game and light the sirens and sometimes, but unfortunately for us, but not for him, he just took a job in Independence, Missouri.
Okay.
So he's up on Independence now. So hopefully we can get the fire department to come by with the truck still and turn on some sirens for us.
Now we talked about some of the great players that have come through UCM baseball. You mentioned Jonathan Sprinkle, Jordan Fowler, getting. Not drafted, but chosen as undrafted free agents. What do you think about your prospects for the next level? Is seeing them succeed and those two getting undrafted free agents, Mason Jarman being drafted by the Orioles, what does that make you think about yourself?
Yeah, it gives me high hopes that I continue doing the work and putting my best effort towards what we're doing here, and with the help from the coaching staff, pushing everybody in the right direction. I definitely see that as a possibility. I talked to a few teams last year, and I made my decision to come back actually based on if there's going to be a minor league season or not, and talked to some of the scouts. So, I told them that if there's going to be a minor league season, I think it'd be best for me to come back for another year to, get the reps, still fine-tune some skills that I need to work on, and, play baseball. I think it was probably the right choice to, come back and get the reps and play this season out when spring rolls around. So, yeah, I think with the coaching staff we have here, as long as we keep drilling hard and working hard on everything we do, I'm hopeful that I can sign at the end of the spring.
So you think if there was a minor league season this year, you would have been on a minor league team? Someone would have picked you up?
Yeah, I hope so. We had a couple offers couple of scouts talking to me, and I told them that if there was a minor league season, yeah, for sure I would definitely enter the draft, and hopefully they'd pick me up, but yeah.
Wow, that's something I didn't know. What do you think you need to work on to get to that next level?
Honestly, I think just consistency. Playing with Mason Janvrin, he's one of the most consistent batters I've ever seen, one of the most consistent players. And, I still talk to him, hit with him the other day, and, I'm still learning things from him. He's a great ball player, great person. So as long as I can work on being consistent and, staying on top of the mental side of the game, I think that's just the biggest thing that I need to work on right now.
That's going to lead me into our, next segment. I'm going to name a player, teammate, coach of yours, and I want you to give me your thoughts, one word, phrase that comes to mind when I say them. We're going to start with the player you just mentioned, Mason Janvrin.
Yeah, fast, of course. I mean, that's the first thing that pops in anybody's head, I think. But yeah, he's just a ball player. He plays ball the way it should be played, and he goes hard in everything he does and lays out, and he just hustles everywhere he goes. So I can't wait to see when the minor league season picks back up and how he does. I know he did pretty well in the short season last year when he played, so it'll be fun to definitely see what progress he makes.
How helpful has it been having him actually back here in town?
Yeah, it's great to have him back. He's been helping us speed school. He's been teaching us some things, different running techniques that he's learned in the minors, and we were able to apply them to our guys here, and it's definitely helping us be more efficient and, being just like fine-tuning things that we've been working on previously, and it's awesome having him around.
Yeah, that's one of the great things I think about UCM athletics and Mules Baseball in particular is those alumni that come back and are so willing to offer up help to the younger guys and see this program continue to grow and improve year after year.
Yeah, it's definitely something very helpful to have.
All right, next guy, Dusty Stroup.
Dusty, what a great pickup for us,
Sure.
I mean, he's just a bomber. He coming from Mo West, playing against him for 3 years, and finally having him on our team. It's like he was like the missing piece we needed on the infield and in the lineup. Talking back at Fort Hayes, I mean, the kid was on fire. You couldn't stop him.
Yeah.
You couldn't stop him. So I'm really excited to see what Dusty does this upcoming spring, and he's looking really good right now in the fall. So yeah.
How did he fit into the clubhouse right away, coming from Mo State or from Mo West?
Oh, it's like we had his brother when I was a freshman. His brother Travis played on the team, so it's like he had been playing with us since we got here. So he fit right in.
Josh Schumacher.
What can I say about him? My roommate, huh? Yeah, he's a hardworking guy, and he definitely plays baseball the right way. I don't know. He's all around good talent, good person to have around. If you ever need help with anything, he's a guy you can go to on the field, off the field. He's a good buddy to have around.
We're going to flip to the other side, the pitching side, Mason Green. You faced him.
I did face him, and he carved me up a little bit, so we'll have to see if I can get back at him this fall. But he's definitely one of the harder workers that we have on the team. He knows what needs to be done from previous experience. He can, get on the younger guys on the pitching side of it, because we don't usually see a whole lot of pitching. Like, we don't practice a whole lot with the pitchers. So he's definitely a leader that we have on the pitching side that knows the right way to do things and what the coaches expect from us. So, he's a great leader on the team, and I'm going to come back for him in the fall and later in this fall and get back at him.
Coach Crooks.
He is one of the biggest influences in my life. From freshman year to now, I'm still learning new things from him. He's teaching all of us, not only life lessons in baseball, but also life lessons. So you can learn things from him. He pulls you out to the side of the field for talk, and it's just a life lesson you can apply anywhere. And he's a great friend too. So it's something that you don't usually see. I couldn't imagine seeing a whole lot of other places, just like the great bonds between the coaching staff and the players, and how much they get us as players. Young adults, they know kind of like what we need to hear from them, but also can get on us at times, but they do it the right way. And Coach Crooks is, he's amazing.
I see some of the signs you guys have posted around the locker room and the hitting cages and stuff, and I get the impression that Crooks coaches things a little differently. He doesn't have that old school what's right is right mentality. He wants to score first, and he wants to be much more aggressive, I think, than some other coaches I've seen.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Speaking of aggression, we'll take the base path. People know we're going to run on them. We have 2 outs, and it's late in the game, but we're still going to be moving on the bases. Like, that's just how we play. It's mule ball. We're going to run in your face, and you got to make the play, or else we're going to score. And we're not going to slow down for you. So that's something that's, I think, pretty unique to UCM, is that we're just go, go, go. And, I mean, if you want to make the play, you have to make the play, or else we're just going to keep running around you.
And how do you think that you fit into that style?
I love it. I love the small ball and, just fast pace, because, I mean, if you don't practice like that, if we practice fast pace like that, 2-on-2, Mule BP, honestly, practices are harder than the games. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of our success is, we practice so hard throughout the whole week that, and all fall, that when spring rolls around, we're so prepared that, the games, they don't seem nearly as hard as the practices we go through. And I think that's, like I said, just a key factor in our success here at UCM. I
got one last name for you, Erik Webb.
Yeah, I mean,
self-reflection.
Yeah, he's just a kid that loves playing baseball. I like playing the right way. I hope the guys can see that I like bringing joy to the game. I like keeping it easy and keeping it fun. And, I never take the game too serious. If you ever let the game get too big, I mean, there's no joy in it anyways if it gets to that point. So you got to have fun with it. You got to play, like I said, like you're a little kid in the backyard. So I love it. And hopefully when my career is here at UCM is done, that I can continue playing on in the minor leagues too.
So you're back now. You're playing baseball. You're practicing. What are some things maybe over the summer or just in your life that you like doing outside of baseball?
Yeah. Outside of baseball, I like getting outside. One of the big things, I like camping. So over quarantine, it was tough that we weren't able to go anywhere. I was kind of cooped up inside, but I love camping. I got a couple dogs back home, so I love hanging out with those guys. And I'm a big gamer. If anyone wants to game with me, shoot me a text. But other than that, not a whole lot goes on outside of baseball.
Mm-hmm. What kind of dogs do you have?
I have a Basenji and a Black Lab. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So.
And you said off air that you're really not a huge MLB fan. You don't watch a whole lot of, professional baseball.
Right.
Do you watch college baseball, Division I, when that's on, or?
Not a whole lot. I watch baseball from time to time, but I don't really keep up with it a whole lot. Mm-hmm. If anything, I probably watch college football the most. Okay. My brother, my oldest brother Brian, he went to Arkansas for 2 years, so we were big Arkansas fans. So whenever they played, we'd watch them from time to time. Yeah.
Did you play other sports in high school growing up, things like that, or you really focused on baseball?
Yeah. In high school, I was just baseball. I played soccer when I was younger, and I wrestled for a few years. But other than that, they tried getting me to play. They asked me to play soccer my senior year of high school, but I just decided to stick with baseball. I didn't want to get hurt.
I think that's really a big difference with middle school and high school kids now, is they really are very sport specific. You go back 20 years back when I was in high school. I remember I was playing all sorts of different sports in little leagues, soccer, baseball, football, trying everything. I eventually personally stuck with track and field in high school and college, but there wasn't that specialization early on in my life that I think you see now.
Yeah, I definitely I would agree with you. I was just a single athlete in high school, so yeah, single sport athlete.
What are some things you've seen this fall about the 2021 team that you can tell us about? What are you excited about?
Yeah, I'm excited about, our pitching staff. I cannot wait to see what they're able to do. Mason Green, like I told you earlier, he's definitely putting the work, and it's hard to believe, but he's gotten better since last year. Another pitcher that I'm very excited to look forward to is Connor Dreyer. I've seen him in a few outings this fall, and he looks really good. So that's going to be awesome to see how they develop and, what they can bring to us in the spring. And, just the returners, how we play. And, we know what needs to be done from last year. So hopefully we can bring that back and carry it on to this upcoming season.
Unfinished business, right?
Unfinished business.
All right, Erik, I could talk baseball with you for hours, but we're running out of time. You have to get to practice pretty soon, I believe.
That's right, yeah.
Do you have any final words, anything you want to plug?
No, I just, can't wait to get back on the field and, practice with the full team. And, I hope to see you all out at Crane Stadium when spring rolls around. So, I'm excited.
Where can people follow you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Webby_16. That's where you can follow me.
All right, well, thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate taking the time out to be our very first guest. Thanks, everyone, for watching and listening. For Erik Webb, my producer, Tony Manzo, I'm Joe Hoffman. Be sure to follow UCM Athletics on social media for news and information, and tune in next time to the Roll Stable Podcast.